What can I say? I like cars. Myself and my brother spent countless years of our childhood at the race circuit. As my parents would take me because they knew how much joy that it brought both of us. But sadly now, one part of that no longer is with us.
And good morning to Tim Harvey and to Paul O'Neill, and welcome to Rockingham for the last time.
So I've been speaking to some of the key people from Rockingham's history. This is Rockingham Corby's forgotten speedway. But first let's travel back a bit.
You see on the right of the screen there that blue 3 rows behind. The field coming to full.
Yellow line stand, but completely has the car underneath it.
Lyondike wins the 74th running of the Indianapolis 500, his very first.
So yeah, 1990 was my first 500. I was absolutely blown away. Emerson Fittipaldi, there he is. He got pole position, I remember, and was right up there in the top 6. Young AJ. And what a fantastic race.
This is Peter Davies, and he's the founder of Axiom, a land promotion and project development company. But in the 1990s, he had the idea to build an oval circuit in Corby to capitalise on IndyCar's roots in the UK.
So the USP had to be, well, why don't we bring Americana to here? At that time, there were a couple of engines that weren't Ilmor and Cosworth, but Ilmor and Cosworth engines were the most successful. So we had a massive following, and the majority of the people here had never gone to a race because you can't take all of your employees to a race. So I thought, well, if we were to hold a race here, it'd be different. So I thought, how hard can it be?
But he needed an investor to cover the costs of the project. Luckily, he had some connections to a well-known financer.
A school friend of mine who was in banking had worked with Guy Hands in a previous life, and so I was given 15 minutes to pitch to Guy Hands, who asked the 4 most pertinent questions about the risk of the project, and I was able to answer those, and he then elected to invest privately as the largest private investor. I had other private investors and the 2 construction companies, and so we set off to actually build it out. The challenges were that in some ways there was so much interest and support for us that there was a call from the majority shareholder to accelerate and build it out, not in phases, but to build it in one go. The economics changed when we accelerated the build program. And at that time, there was no bank debt. So it was the private investors, and it placed probably a higher strain on them, particularly the major shareholder, who was having to write checks on a monthly basis for multiple millions of pounds. And whilst that was always going to be the case, probably it was unhelpful, because I'm quite sure this wasn't the only project in which investments were being made. And the 2 advisors, who were not easy to work with and who protected Guy to the extent that we didn't have any direct dialogue, meant that I don't believe that Guy was getting fair and proper information about the project, the commitments and the determination and the honesty and good nature of all of the parties involved, most notably the management team. And some very bad behaviour took place, undertaken by his people, after which the relationship had to end.
This left Peter ousted from the board, meaning he had to walk away from his idea before the circuit had even opened. But a few of his ideas had survived to the opening day. ASCAR, the UK's answer to NASCAR, but for its launch in 2001, they needed a big name.
Sandwich between the 2
BMWs are going for first, says John Cleland. Into the gravel again and off. Oh, John! The man's an animal.
Start for right over, a blinding start for John Cleland in the Vauxhall, straight through the middle, and he leads him into the field.
Ansel says thank you on through on the inside. Oh, a little touch there with Cleland.
What must he be feeling? So long, since 1995, he hasn't won a race, and John Cleland has won a race.
Their answer was 1989 and 1995 British Touring Car champion John Cleland. He had been approached at the Autosport International to take part in the championship for the season, but he only ended up doing one race after issues arose at round one.
Yeah, that really became apparent at Croft, and we were all in the literally, I think it was one big open garage at Croft in those days, and we were all in there, and car by car they were coming in going, "Have you got a problem with oil pressure?" Yeah. And the poor guy that was the engine man, I mean, he was running up and down the garages trying to do whatever it took. Was it a pressure relief valve? Was it low in fuel? Was it low in oil? Should we run more oil in them? And literally, I think it was the pump and the scavenging of the oil that was then redistributing it through the top part of the engine wasn't happening. It was, lads, we got a problem here. These engines, if we drive this like it's a race, like we're going to be flat out for the however many laps it was going to be, and I can't quite remember what it was going to be, 150 laps or something, I've no idea. We're going to blow these cars up. There's going to be shrapnel all over Northamptonshire. So that wasn't happening. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to make a race of it. We're going to make it look exciting. We're going to rub each other up and down. We're going to be this close, that close, whatever. And here's the hat. Pick your number out the hat. And whatever number you get is the position we need you to be in at the end of the race. And I ended up with number one. I ended up clambering out, and it was difficult. It was quite embarrassing and difficult to do. I've won a race, but I haven't. I've been gifted a race. I've got to get out of the car, going, yeah, for the cameras and all that, you know, fantastic. And the trophy, I think, was about so big. It was a monster thing. And, you know, I'm on the top of the car and I'm giving it Yahoo and all that. And I have no idea what the other drivers thought. This lunatic thinks he's won a race here.
So John left the series to spend some time working on his Volvo dealership, but at least he still has some memories from the racing. Anyway, it's time to speak to John Barnes.
You got to hold and give, but do it at the right time.
Wait, no, not him. Him. But who is he? John Barnes is the 2008 British GT champion, taking his first win of the season at wet Rockingham Speedway back in 2008. But the reason I spoke to him was that he unknowingly raced in Rockingham's final race.
And then once I saw the timetable, I realised that the Sports and GT's race was actually going to be the final race ever at Rockingham. So that was obviously a huge privilege to take part in that. Yeah, I had an amazing start, that one. And sometimes you get those in race cars when you do a standing start and it just clicks and you hook up really well. And so yeah, rocketed off the line. And I think going into the hairpin on the first lap, we were probably 12 car lengths in the lead or something. And it was just a real shame that at the end of lap 2, the red flag came out because there was oil on circuit. Because yeah, I think we had a big lead, something like a 2 or 3 second lead over the rest of the cars. Personally, and within the Caterham team that were there, we all kind of approached that as a normal weekend, just trying to focus on what we were doing, getting the car working as well as we could get it going, because yeah, it was important to try and secure a good result that weekend. It was only once everything had finished that there was a bit of a somber mood, and I remember doing some interviews up on the podium talking about the final event there and what the circuit had meant to me. So it was only at that point it kind of hit home that the place was closing.
Well, you join us in the present day where, as you can hear, there's no V8s, no crowds walking into the venue, just silence, which is a bit of a shame, but at least we still have the memories.